Thank you very much for joining us today. My name is Ying, and I will be your host for tonight. Today we are very honored to have a lot of guests with us to talk about some new updates happening at the university. So I want to give you a very quick rundown of what's going to happen today. So first and foremost, the session today will be split into two parts. First, we're going to be talking about big data, and in particular, the HKU big data programs that we have launched in recent years. After that, we will be having some updates about the university and some admissions information. Towards the end of the session, there will be a Q&A, so please make sure you use the Q&A function and send us some questions, and we will try our best to get to them towards the end. Now, as we all know, topics such as big data, artificial intelligence, and metaverse have pretty much dominated news headline in recent years. As a response to that, to keep up with the global trend and also prepare students for a data-driven future, HKU has launched 5 big data-related programs last year. But what is big data, and how is that relevant to us? To answer that question, we are very honored today to have special guests joining us, including those from the industry, to give us their insight about big data. Now, let me first introduce our speakers. So on the far right, we have Professor Bennett Ying, the Director of Undergraduate Admissions and International Student Exchange at HKU. Mr. Andrew Chan, the Head of Data and Insights from Foodpanda Hong Kong. Ms. Jessica Liu, a founding member of Planto, a fintech solution provider hailing from HKU. And Dr. Tingting Fan, the Deputy Program Director of the HKU Bachelor of Science in Marketing, Analytics, and Technology. Also with us will be we'll be joined by a student, Damien, who is a first-year student at one of the big data programs, the HKU Bachelor of Arts in Humanities and Digital Technologies. They will be sharing with us some updates from the industry, the demand that we see in the market, some future development, as well as the salient features of the HKU undergraduate programs focusing on big data. With that, I would like to pass the time to Professor Bennett Ying to start us off with the panel discussion.
Okay, yeah, thank you, Ying. Please allow me to say a few words before starting the discussions. Well, as a world-class comprehensive research university with unique strength in innovation, research talent, and international exchange, the University of Hong Kong has always been an attractive place for students with different background and also aspiration. We have also been actively engaging in continuous enhancement and refinement of our curriculum development and design. We hope to nurture talent with a global perspective for Hong Kong, mainland China, and even the world to meet the rapidly changing development worldwide. As mentioned by Ying, we especially recognize that the big data, data analytics, and digitization are major trends today and in the future. This will also be important direction for global economic development, and we believe the need for talent in related industry will only continue to grow. Therefore, HKU had announced the launching of a total of 5 big data related programs last year, encompassing the area of engineering, business, healthcare, and even culture and arts. We will also launch a first in Hong Kong and first in Asia new Bachelor of Business Administration in Accounting Data Analytics in 2023. We hope this 6 programs together will enable our students to explore the ample opportunity in big data-driven future. Again, as Ying was saying, we are very pleased to have 2 industry leaders as well as our own colleagues and our students to join our talk tonight. And maybe I'll ask Andrew and Jessica to briefly introduce their background and experience.
So, lady first.
Okay, that's always the reason. Hi everyone, I'm Jessica. So I'm one of the founding members at Planto. So Planto is a fintech company. So we have a B2C application and we also serve banks in Hong Kong. My background, I was a graduate from HKU, actually from accounting and finance. I was in banking for a while, went into a boutique investment firm, and then started the company with a bunch of friends. So, yep, that's my story.
Cool. So this is Andrew, and I'm the head of data in Foodpanda Hong Kong. So I've been there for around a couple years, and then I've been in data industry for around 8 years. I've been in different industries, so hopefully I can answer some questions today.
Great, thank you very much. So maybe I'll start the discussion by asking Andrew the first question. So earlier we were talking about like big data, data analytic, and so we want to see if you can share from your previous work or current work, or even anything you know about different industry. What kind of application do they have that are related to big data or data analytic?
Sure. I mean, talking about like application, definitely there are different things that we need to do for different teams and departments. So I would say, for example, say for marketing team, definitely we have a lot of marketing analysis, and we need a lot of analytical power, both from their team and also internally, externally, we have different data. So this is just one example. Definitely different teams like finance or like say operations, logistics, and then different kind of strategies teams. All of them actually have a lot of application in data. Talking about like different industry, I would say different industry actually having different degree of digital transformation. So they are actually in different stages, and some of them might be is like kind of still in the fundamental stage that a lot of like groundwork we need to do, database setup, and the data lake that we need to build before we can use them in like different data visualizations and analysis. And then some of them are a little bit more advanced, like maybe in Foodpanda a little bit more, because it's like a tech company. Then we will focus a bit more on, like say, automations and some more like alerts that can tell us like daily or weekly what kind of metrics that we need to take care in the coming weeks or months. Also, definitely there will be a lot of like say machine learnings on like say prediction of like orders or like staffing, etc. So a lot of different kinds of applications in different scenarios that we will need analysts in different teams and departments.
Oh, I see. Maybe I'll turn to like Jessica, because I think Andrew earlier mentioned like the example more in the marketing, maybe operations. So in your line of work, like in finance, like do you have similar or different kind of like application?
Actually, because what we do at Planto, when you look at the B2C application, we touch on both marketing for our own product and also data used for personalization, for prediction and all that. So for marketing, I think it's very similar to what Foodpanda does. We try to apply data to build up lookalike models to target better in terms of, let's say, Facebook marketing. What kind of data do we need to essentially target better customer base? And in our app itself, we see actually a lot of application where we need big data. So one is the personalization part. So how do we ensure that we're giving, let's say, when we're getting transactions of a user, how do they know what this transaction means, what this transaction merchant is, what the categorization, the location. And in order to build that up, you need to have a lot of data to keep training that model to be able to show that to a user. A second application we have in our application is predicting what kind of properties you can buy or when can you actually buy a property. So it just a user basically puts in their current profile, what kind of property they're looking at, and then we give them a prediction based on a number of years when can they actually buy this and how should they be saving towards that. So another way we've been using our data or the data that, let's say, our clients have is around lookalike models. So we have banking clients who use our lookalike model in combination of their own data and Planto's, they call alternative data because we have users from our application as well, to build a more precise customer lookalike model to identify what kind of customer segmentations there are, and also what is the likeliness of a customer to essentially convert on products like loans or certain credit cards. So yeah, it's just completely like a wide various ways of application, use case, and it's definitely a very interesting and it's growing. Like the use cases, the potential, I think it's still at its early stage.
Wow, I think, thank you for sharing so many examples of like the application. Now, I want to kind of like maybe follow up a bit on what like Andrew mentioned earlier. Andrew mentioning like, I mean, company at different stages of like using data analytics, like big data and all that. And I'm wondering like, what kind of factor may be driving the differences across like company or industry in terms of how much they value data analysis and kind of like technology like that?
I would say two ways. The first one probably is about like cost. Not just about like money terms, but it could be like time cost, human resources cost. Without doing that kind of proper data analysis, then it will take them a lot of time, a lot more resources to get like similar outcome. So I can take a lot of those like automation practice that we did as an example. Before, maybe every morning you need someone to do to draft like the report or dashboard for like maybe half an hour or like an hour in order to have a report out through email by a person manually. But then if you do the automation, so basically every morning you just get in, you just drink your coffee and you're already reading the reports or dashboard through emails. So no more human touch, definitely a lot of cost
I see.
Reduction.
I see. Obviously, like from Jessica's like description, your company and using a lot of like this new technology. So particularly like any driving force, like why your company probably at the forefront of using this technology?
I think it's just because who you're targeting, because at that stage we were targeting now millennials and then now Gen Z as well. And these people, these type of user base, they're very technologically savvy. So you have to try outperform. And how do you outperform? You need to learn to understand them and then utilize the data to give them a better experience, more personalized. So that's kind of our initial drive, and fundamentally, when it comes to our B2C application, it's about trying to solve a problem we have ourselves as well as we imagine ourselves as a customer, and so it just becomes a use case. Like this is our objective, and in order to achieve that, it's actually using data to achieve it, and not so much we use data for the sake of it. So I think that is the reason why kind of we were able to grow at a pretty pretty okay rate. Yes.
Okay. So this is not our necessity. It's also like competitive advantage, right? For your company's case.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, today, like earlier, Ying also mentioned we have my colleague is like Dr. Tingting Fan here. She is the deputy program director of one of our programs, specializing in marketing analytics. I'm sure she can also like share with us like some information, right? So from your perspective, like maybe talking a little bit about our program. Now listening to our experts, like talking about the application, what they need, like are we able to provide some of those in our program or not?
Well, the answer is short. It's yes. So I'm very happy to learn from Andrew, from Jessica, that the industry really needs this skill set. And that's the reason why Hong Kong U is launching so many new programs, trying to equip our students with the hard skills which relates to data, algorithm, and also equip them with the business knowledges. So as both of you have shared with us, this data trend, data plus algorithm is a trend, and this is booming. It's going to be booming for years. It's happening now. So for our program, for HKU, it's important to let our students to learn all those skills. So in terms of the program, the curriculum, as our understanding is on the same page as the industry. We're going to equip our students with the hard skills. For example, the courses that they take from computer science, from engineering. So lots of our programs are interdisciplinary. which means that they take courses in different faculties, in different schools, getting to know all those technologies. And at the same time, they're also learning the very essential knowledge from business. So this is really the combination of those soft skills and the hard skills. So by the time they graduate from HKU, they're able to process the data, they're able to use the data to answer the questions, to solve the problems in the real life.
Wow, it's great. It's great to know, our program is really answering, or kind of addressing the industry need. Now, of course, so far the example that we have talked about seems to be focusing a bit more on business, right? It's good that we have another speaker today. We have a student, Damien. He is actually in the first year cohort of one of our programs, even though it's also related to big data. But it's from the culture and also arts type perspective, right? Maybe, I don't know whether Damien already learn a bit about the program, and also so what kind of application are we talking about? In arts and culture.
Right, yeah. So I have already started doing more about a course about statistics, so basic statistics, learning Python and that kind of stuff. But I've also taken a common core that's about archaeology, and it's quite interesting. So in that archaeology course, we have to make 3D models based off of existing data of that archaeological site, so we can actually do a VR tour of that site, that archaeological site, which people normally can't go to, and now they can experience it at home with their phones in a special cardboard little box that they can put on their head. In fact, I've actually been helping in a project. I've joined a project that is going to Armenia. It's an archaeological project where they actually dig in Armenia. They dig about ancient artifacts and that kind of stuff. And I'm joined to the project that actually does some technology part about it. So they use, for example, machine learning with satellite imagery as well as with LiDAR technology to find ancient ruins that they couldn't spot from the ground up, as well as using 3D scanning or photogrammetry to actually get those actual pieces of pottery together, and they can use computer program to kind of piece it back together without having to do it manually. So I think that's pretty cool, and I'm looking forward to learning more about that kind of stuff and helping them with my expertise and with my experiences at least to kind of from an interdisciplinary point of view try and help out from an arts as well as from a technology point of view how you can actually discover more about our culture.
Oh, that's great. I think thank you for introducing us to another side of application of the new technology. Now, of course, I mentioned earlier, Damien is in the first cohort of one of our data kind of related program. So maybe I also don't know whether Tingting can also I suppose you have worked closely with our first cohort student in the program. So any interesting thing you can tell us about our student, our first cohort of student?
Sure. So we just got our first cohort students into our marketing analytics and technology program, and I met them quite often. So I found that first I thought that it's going to be challenging for them because they're taking different courses from different schools, but they actually found it interesting because they're gaining the knowledge that used to be out of their reach. Now all of a sudden all those doors are open. And on the top of that, they're meeting people in engineering, in computer science, which provides them with different angles to look at the same data set. So when they also come back to the business school to take the business class, right, like Economics 101, their perspective will change as well. Because unlike the other students who only take business school classes, right, their ways of tackle the problem will be different, with the assistance of the data and algorithm they've learned from the other area. So they pretty much enjoy the first year experience here. So we have, we believe that more and more students with the talents will join us and enjoy this journey.
Oh, wonderful. I'm sure the first year student, they'll be really pampered by our teachers and getting a lot of support. But I'm sure we'll continue to provide support to all our programs as well. Yeah, maybe I want to change the topic slightly because I want to think about from our student perspective, what are the things that they're probably a little bit more concerned about, right? So a lot of students will say, well, what about the career prospect, career path of if I finish program like this, what kind of career prospect am I talking about? What kind of like path can I choose? So can any of our guests like maybe share your view with us, like so that they feel more comfortable if they enter a program, they know there will be a bright future for them.
Let me do this first.
Okay.
I think definitely we are seeing a really good prospect for data industry, I would say. Within there, I would say just very broadly, I can put it into 3 categories. We've got data analysts, we've got data scientists, and data engineering. So I think 3 of those are now still like in a just like what you said, booming stage. That a lot of demands are needed in basically any industry. Just now also mentioned about like the digital transformation. So that means many different kind of companies, no matter it's like traditional or tech companies, basically all of them would need different growth in terms of how they use data. So that also means that they need a lot of human resources. Not just like building up the core data team is basically the first step, but different teams and departments, they also need a lot of analysts to support the analysis that they have within the teams. So in short, I would say definitely we do see that it's like booming. Just like take Foodpanda as an example. Like I've been there for 2 years. We start from 3 or 4 analysts. Now we got like 15, 16. So in 2 years' time. And we still keep on hiring. So that's actually kind of indirectly show that how much we actually need throughout like different industry.
Yeah, I completely agree. And the demand would just continue to grow because you have industries in the past who weren't very digitally savvy, transforming like was previously mentioned. And I think the program is extremely useful because some of the courses are between business and technology. And what you realize is that even if you have data analysts, you have data engineers, data scientists, sometimes they might not understand the business side of things. And then what is the use case? You can have a lot of great data scientists, but when you don't have a business person to tell them what the use case is, essentially at the end of the day, it's kind of futile. So I think it's very important. And I think that, for a lot of cases, the use case is very important, and having that knowledge and application and knowing what management is trying to work with that on the business side is actually quite missing in the market, I would say, because it's very simple to say, I want a data analyst, I want a data scientist, but what's in between? What is the bridge between that? I think there is still room in general in the market.
Well, that seems like I mean, for different kind of student with different kind of like technical background or non-technical background, I suppose the industry will be able to find like a career path for them, right? Yeah. Well, of course, like I think now that we addressed the career prospect and career path aspect, I want to get back to Damien because earlier, even though he seems very excited about the program, like I mean, he's learning different courses, and I'm sure a lot of students maybe are like in the art stream, right? Because usually the stream, the art stream tends to be preferred program offered by a Faculty of Arts, right? So they may be asking, like, I mean, why would I want to join a program like this, right? Instead of a more traditional like arts program. So what particular aspect of this program really attracts you to be so courageous to actually jump into like taking this program?
Yeah, so I do actually have a few classmates who are like a little bit concerned about the statistics part or like the comp sci part of that degree that I'm doing. But I personally believe that the school doesn't necessarily throw you in the deep end. They don't expect you to do like really intense data science stuff right off the bat. For example, the course that I'm doing, the statistics course, we are learning a very basic Python first, and then we're branching into statistics. And some art students might think, oh, what does this have to do with me? So this type of computer science kind of like, data management kind of style, I feel it's actually quite useful for even everybody in general, like as a student. If you've used Notion before, it's like, plain text, you type stuff in, you can organize your stuff. But that can also be used for data itself. For example, you can figure out which courses you have to do more readings on. It will automatically send you a reminder. Now, that kind of stuff is computer stuff. But from an arts point of view, if you have background, just a little bit of background in this, you don't need like, to be a full computer science engineer or something like that. but to have at least a brief knowledge of everything helps make you more well-rounded, and it kind of gives you a taste of different types of stuff. So you can, you know, if you're really interested in, for example, like one part of like the digital technology point of view, from my degree at least, you don't necessarily have to do it just full time, and it gives you that an idea, a starting point where you can start to branch off into that can help you in your main arts degree, for example. Like what I talked about, the archaeology stuff. You might say, oh, I just really love archaeology. I don't want to do any math. I don't want to do any data. But then you start to realize that with digital technology, it starts to make your life really easy. You don't have to spend like a whole day drawing out the grounds, the plans for everything. Just use the little 3D scanner and everything. Use the GPS, or not really GPS, but using GPS technology similar to that. You can create the whole environment within like a couple of hours, rather than spending every time, you know, drawing in a notebook, having to scan it afterwards. And it just helps make your life really easy in general, and it helps provide you more chance to, you know, innovate and to explore more and focus on the actual exploration part instead of just the, you know, hard repetitive tasks.
Wow, that's very well said. I'm sure like our students like kind of listening to that and saying, well, this is really like a very new idea. Like, I mean, how we can even integrate like technology and what we call big data, all these things, which from their perspective maybe it's very remote. But now you kind of bring it like very close to them. Very good, very good. Now, maybe I also think of like another thing. Some of our students may be thinking, okay, now you get my attention. I'm interested like in exploring this type of program. But like, what do I have to do? Like, I mean, so throughout the program, do I need to look for something? Do I need to equip myself with a specific thing so that I can be successful? I mean, at the end, they want to be successful in doing this. They want to be successful in their career, in their jobs, right? So from your perspective, like from your experience as well, is there any specific things that they must have? And then what are some of the things that it's good to have, right?
Well, it's a big question. Let me think. I think must have, technically speaking, definitely you need to equip yourself with, like, say, SQL, Python. Great if you know a little bit JavaScript to be a good analyst or a scientist. But then I think just now we did also discuss a little bit. Please don't just emphasize those hard skills. Definitely we need business sense. Definitely we need presentation, communication, and data visualization skills. So I think it's like kind of a balance that you need both of them. And just now we also discussed a bit on what kind of direction they can go. And I can say that there are really different paths that you can go for different teams and departments. We also need data analytics over there. So yeah, that's my take.
What would you like to go? My take is that obviously those skills are very important. It's also applying the skills as well. What I mean here is a lot of people take courses, let's say in JavaScript, or take courses in Python. But in reality, what you really need to do is actually apply it in real life, where you use it and build something yourself, right? So for example, on the data side, maybe you can try Kaggle. You know, and another way, it's more of a soft skill kind, not soft skill, but more of a human kind of perspective is reach out to people who are in the industry, really get to understand, you know, what it's like being in that industry, and understand that, because it can be so broad, right? Then you understand, you know, for different type of industry, what kind of skill set do you need for that, and really learn about, you know, whether you like it first, and then double down or invest more into learning a bit more, applying more, and then teaching yourself when you have time. So I think it's about attitude as well. So you need to have a lot of patience when it comes down to data. So yeah, that's my perspective.
Tingting, you have anything to add?
Yeah, so from the program's perspective, I totally agree with what you just said. I think what the students must have is actually having an open mind, and also have a logic. So, you know, using the logic and then looking at every business, right? You try to understand why it works, how it works. I mean, it's more important than those numbers. Right? Without any kind of basic knowledge about business, the numbers are just numbers. They're not telling any insights. And the numbers and the algorithm is just like the tool. the most advanced tool that you use to dig into and then to try to find the insights and the solutions. So you don't have to be a math genius, right, to be, as a data analytics. What you need is to have an open mind and then also try to, get your hands dirty, right, on data, on the algorithm, and then also looking at those business problems, with a fresh eye. Try to solve the problems. At the end of the day, those big data are coming from consumers. So you're not talking to the data, you are talking to your consumers, to the human beings, from the data.
Wow, those are very good advice. I can see like Damien keep knocking his head. I hope he also learned a lot like from the advice as well, right?
I would also like to add about the attitude. I think students should also, it's good to have actual skills and the knowledge behind it, but I think a very important thing is like how your attitude is towards new stuff. Because I think this branch of, it's very new, basically. The stuff you're learning here and the way you're combining it together, it's a very new way. It's not really been tried and tested for like many, many years already. It's still learning, it's growing, it's developing as we speak. So I think something that students should have is like we said, open mind and to be willing to explore and just to learn new things. Because one of the things is you can be a really good business person but have no idea about technology. You can be a really good technology person but have no idea about the actual logic, as you said, behind that kind of stuff. But putting it together in new ways. Because, for example, like archaeology, going back to that example, a couple years ago, like 10 years ago, there wasn't as much technology as there is now. So you have to keep learning and keep being on your feet, looking at new technologies come up. Just like, look at magazines and stuff like that. If there's something new that's coming up and you're thinking, oh, this is really interesting, like, VR, metaverse, that kind of stuff like that, that is a completely new opportunity that has just shown up like less than a year ago in terms of like being realistic. So you have to constantly be willing to learn and be willing to, explore new things that you might think is a little bit weird, but then eventually it could just become the norm in the future. So it's really important in my book to kind of like, really be willing to explore and to just, accept that things are going to change and you better change with them and learn early.
Wow, those are actually also like very good advice. When I look at the clock, like the time really flies. I'm sure like we can spend like all night here talking. I'm sure there are a lot more like to discuss, but I understand like in our program we have allocated about 30 minutes for this discussion, so we are coming to an end. But before I close, I just want to see if any of our guests have any final advice for our students or any final things you want to say to our audience.
Well, I just want to say that potential students are really lucky to have this opportunity to take on this program, just because I feel like during my year as a student I never got this opportunity. So yeah, really take this advantage.
Can't agree more. Really lucky that we have all sort of like new programs out there, and lucky for us as well. Now we have those degrees like 3-4 years later. We could have more fresh blood.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, good. We'll definitely send our graduate to you.
No, for sure,
Okay,
sure,
so good. Thank you very much. I think we really appreciate the sharing by Andrew, Jessica, Tingting, and also Damien. And I'm sure all of you have learned a lot about different applications of big data, data analytics, and also there are a lot of opportunity in the digital economy. And again, they kind of already tell us those of you who worry about career prospect, worry about career path, those are huge opportunity in the market, right? In fact, that's the future. If you miss that, you're going to regret it later on, right? So thank you very much again for this sharing with us. Now, before I kind of say goodbye to all of you, I just want to remind our audience, even though tonight our focus of a discussion has to be on this data-related program. But don't forget, Hong Kong, you actually have a lot more program for you to choose. If you're not interested in that, certainly, you can also look into other program that as interesting and also have very good career prospect as well. Okay, so let's give a big hand to thanks all our guests today. Thank you.
Thank you again, and we sure have learned quite a lot, and I'm sure we need some time to actually take all that in. Before we transition to the admissions information and update from the university, we would like to share a very quick video about the HKU data program. We'll be back, and please stay tuned.
Big data. It's the now and also the future of yours and ours. Nowadays, what we need is usually just one click away with a mobile phone or computer. Data analysis is widely utilized in different industries. The collection, analysis and application of big data has become an essential skill for the next generation. HKU's brand new big data-oriented programs. The programs are designed to keep up with global trends to nurture big data professionals. Nurturing talents with capabilities and passion for data science. To excel in the era of big data.
Big data can be used in different areas, such as analyzing road traffic situations, understanding the effects of vaccines and medicines for COVID-19 or other diseases.
The program is a combination of courses in data science, computing, mathematics, statistics, and law to equip students with solid foundation and practical skills. Graduates may pursue exciting career choices from the fastest growing job positions.
Big data and technology has brought upon new business models and transformed traditional businesses.
Graduates from the program will be well prepared with profound knowledge to perform big data analysis on consumer behavior and preference, quality control of products and services. They will also be able to formulate innovative business strategies and new development opportunities for different enterprises.
Digital technologies refers to the whole interface between humans and technology. This includes specific applications and tools that use machine learning, neural networks, and other forms of artificial intelligence, augmented and virtual reality, to expand our knowledge of humanities subjects.
The program is the first of its kind in Asia. Due to the rapid development of the global economy and innovation technology, it is crucial to nurture talents with interdisciplinary knowledge in humanities and digital technologies, as well as transferable skills to be regional and global leaders.
Human data is extremely complex. We now have the technology to capture this data, and bioinformatics is about turning this data into useful information to improve lives.
The program cultivates problem-oriented thinking, allows students to understand and analyze biological big data in order to cater for different biomedical needs. It deepens our understanding of cancer and congenital disorders of unknown causes, and helps devise specific disease treatment and prevention plans. This can lead to more and more medical breakthroughs. Big data is more important than ever as it advances trends and technology that open doors to a new approach to understanding the world and making decisions. Join HKU if you aspire to be an expert in big data.
Okay, welcome back to the second half of our session. After hearing from our guests and watching the video, I hope you are eager to learn about the prospect of studying at one of the HKU programs, as we just mentioned. Please continue to send us your questions, as we will be addressing them towards the end of this session. As a quick recap, we want to show you the 5 big data programs that we were shown in the video earlier. So you will be able to see it on the screen. The 5 programs are the Bachelor of Engineering in Data Science and Technology. Let me go back very quickly. Bachelor of Science in Marketing, Analytics, and Technology. The Bachelor of Business Administration and Business Analytics. The Bachelor of Engineering in Data Science and Engineering. The Bachelor of the Bachelor of Arts in Humanities and Digital Technology, as well as the Bachelor of Science in Bioinformatics. So all those 5 programs that have just been shown in the video earlier, you as a student will be able to apply this year as well. Professor Yim, I know you also mentioned briefly during your talk earlier that there will be one new program being offered by the HKU Business School in the following year. Can you tell us a little bit more?
Sure. I think I'm very happy to report to you other than the 5 programs that we mentioned earlier, we will also be introducing a first in Hong Kong and also first in Asia new program. It's called Bachelor of Business Administration in Accounting Data Analytics. And so you may be asking the question like, why this new program? Well, if you kind of have been following the development of accounting, you know our program is mainly to address the new development and also the need of the accounting professions. Well, some of you may know the main function of accounting have been evolving over time, from earlier on bookkeeping to later on maybe compliance, and then also to more and more of the other value-added functions such as advisory services. And together with this change, the skill set required in the industry is also changed significantly. Many of these new skills also are closely linked to big data, data analytics, and also the digital technology. Therefore, in this new program, we call BBA ADA, this new program not only aims to offer students professional training in accounting, but also to equip them to be leaders in data analytics, data economy, and other technology-driven accounting business area. Now, I also would like to remind potential students, this new BBA ADA program will be offered as an additional option together with the BBA Accounting and Finance program. I'm sure most of you are more familiar with this program. So these 2 programs will share the same admission standard and also requirement. And students admitted will have 2 options. They can either opt to study in the regular BBA A&F program, the Accounting and Finance program, or opt into this new BBA ADA program. Now, some of you may also remember previously, we also have a Bachelor of Business Administration, the BBA program, and that used to be offered together with the BBA A&F program. And this program now will be offered as a separate program. And this change will allow us to offer more dedicated, customized academic and extracurricular support to our students in this program. And again, students in this BBA program can continue to actually choose your major among 5 areas, including entrepreneurship, design and innovation, finance, human resources management, information system and analytics, as well as marketing. And students also have the flexibility to select a second major and a minor from program within, either within the business school or across to other faculty.
Thank you, Professor Yim. I'm very glad to hear that students would have even more study options this year. And Professor Yim, do you have any news and updates that you could share with us about HKU, and especially for those who are not able to actually physically travel and visit our campus?
Sure. We actually have a lot of very good news to share with our potential students. First, I would like to mention, despite all the challenges we have faced during this last couple of years, Hong Kong U remained a university of choice among students from Hong Kong, mainland China, and many parts of the world. This is reflected in our ever-increasing number of applications. So we're very pleased that we're seeing many very high-quality applications over the year. In terms of ranking, some of you may already read some of the news kind of in the newspaper or in the media. We are pleased to see that HKU is ranked 21st in the world and first in Hong Kong in the QS World University Ranking 2023. And we also ranked first in the world's most international university ranking 2022 by Times Higher Education. And in the latest global ranking list by subject released by Time Higher Education just very recently, our medical school has attained a historic 13 places in the ranking, up from 20th last year. Our law school ranking also jumped 12 places from 36 to 24. And in education, we even ranked 5th in the world. And the latest 2023 QS World University Ranking on Sustainability, which was just released yesterday, also put HKU in first place in Hong Kong, second in Asia, and 34th in the world. And particularly on the score of equality, we actually scored the highest in Asia. So all these rankings are clear evidence that the exceptional quality of our teaching and research are well recognized in the international arena. While Hong Kong U continues to offer also like the dual degree program, which may be of interest to many of you. And this sort of program combines the best of both worlds as students complete their study in HKU and also one of our leading partner institute. Not only would students be getting more than 1 degree out of this program, they're also being immersed in 2 different cultures and taking full advantage of the network at 2 leading universities in 2 different locations or countries. I'm also pleased to report that our students have resumed the exchange and other experiential learning activities since late last year. With over 380 university partners, students have plenty of exchange options across over 46 countries or destinations, either for the summer, a semester, or even for the full year. On the campus and facility development front, I also have some news to let you know. You are looking at the picture of our tech landmark. And this tech landmark is a very important building to facilitate and promote interdisciplinary research in science and engineering. And this complex will be completed in mid-2024. We also have a 3-phase smart and sustainable complex at the Filleul Road site. And this, you are now looking at a picture of it. I hope you really kind of like admire the beauty of this design. This site, the first phase will be completed by the end of 2023. And for those of you who are planning to enroll into our business program, this complex will be the new home for students joining the HKU Business School. While there are also other development projects that may be of interest to you, and that including like the completed Hong Kong U Beijing Center, the HKU Business School's Shenzhen Center. We also have a center in Vietnam. We also have a new center in Tel Aviv. And of course, many of you may have heard about the Planto HKU Shenzhen campus as well. Now for non-local students, I'm sure you'll be pleased to know that we will have at least 3 more sites for student residence or hall by the end of 2022, June 2023, and also mid-2024 respectively. I hope you would have the opportunity to move into one of these new buildings. As Ying mentioned earlier, we hope some of you will be able to visit us on campus so that you can hear first-hand information from our students about internship, research opportunity, etc. But even if you are not able to come physically, you can still have a taste of our students' life through our social media channel, because many of our students also share the experience. For example, some of them will show you our signature high table dinner at one of the 17 hall and residential college. Some of them will take the weekend hike to the Victoria Park, which can oversee the stunning Hong Kong skyline. And of course, like those of you who sleep late or get up early in the morning, you can do this like late night run to sample even local dim sum from restaurants within walking distance. And again, like, there are also many other fun and exciting activities that you can find in this vibrant city of Hong Kong as well.
Thank you, Professor Yim. From what you just said now, we certainly see that a lot of our students are making full advantage of all the opportunities available at HKU and in Hong Kong. And actually, one thing I often got asked by students and parents these last 2 years is about how HKU has been supporting students in overcoming the challenges that they have faced because of all the learning disruption over the last 2 years. Professor Yim, is there anything that we are doing to help students through the application process to support them
Sure.
along the way?
Yeah, definitely. We want to assure our students that HKU remain committed in providing opportunity for those who might have been affected adversely by COVID or other challenges. One of such initiatives is what we call the School Nomination Direct Admission Scheme. And it is an alternative pathway which aims to match students who show exceptional talent in a particular discipline with a HKU program based on both academic and non-academic fit. But we would not need to consider their public exam result. I think that's the kind of feature of this program, this particular initiative. And also students will be getting firm offer of admission. So I'm pleased to announce that Hong Kong U will continue to support this scheme this year. And we hope that more potential students will be able to come to Hong Kong U to actually further develop their talent. And my understanding is that the nomination cycle is already open. So if you are interested in finding out more about how you can get the excellent education HKU, please visit our website for more information. Or you can also speak to your school to ask about how you can be nominated for this particular scheme, CINDAS. Well, I would also like to stress that at HKU, we fully support both the professional and personal growth of our students. Financially, we offer different type of scholarship to our students with outstanding achievement in academic and other areas. So all eligible applicants with different academic qualification are automatically considered for our HKU Foundation Scholarship, and you don't need to have separate application for scholarship. In addition, we also have scholarship scheme that target potential students from specific country and background. And the total scholarship amount can be up to full tuition fee plus living allowance. So more information about our scholarship can also be found on our website.
Thank you, Professor Yim, for such a detailed explanation. And if you're interested in joining HKU, we have some information for you right now. First, I would like to talk about the admissions pathway. So if you're a student completing an international qualification, for example, such as the IB or GCE A-level, or if you're completing a regional or national qualification, such as the Indian high school class 12 exams, then you will be eligible to apply through the international /non-JUPAS application pathway, regardless of the passport that you'll be holding. That will be the only way. All the applications coming through with that qualifications will be applying through the exact same way on our online application form. We are already accepting application for the 2023 intake now, with a first round evaluation deadline of 16th November 2022. After which all applications will be considered on a rolling basis, subject to program availability. And because of that, we highly recommend students to apply early to secure an early offer with us. You may also submit an application for up to 3 undergraduate programs on your application, and you're strongly advised to rank your most preferred programs as your first choice. And next, we want to touch on the admissions requirements. So Professor Yim, do you have any tips for students on how they could research that information on our website?
Sure. At HKU, again, we are committed to making the admission information as transparent as possible. The requirements shown on our website, if you look at it, mainly for us to ensure that the student will be successful in each specific program. And students, we would advise you to pay special attention to the expected lower boundary, which are the score that would be considered competitive for entry to a specific program based on previous year's data. Now, we also have other requirements. Sometimes we may have an English language requirement. Those requirements are in place to make sure students can easily fit into HKU's learning environment. Now, close to half of our program do not have any program-specific requirement. But for the ones that do, a number of them focus on math and English, while some programs, particularly those in the engineering field, may have a science subject requirement to ensure students actually have the necessary foundational knowledge to make sure they can progress to more advanced level classes.
And we have also listed some additional information that students should provide on the application form. So one point to note here is that students actually can nominate referees to provide some of the information for them. And they can also nominate counselors to provide information that, such as transcripts or even predicted results. So when you nominate a counselor or a referee on an application form, they will receive an email invitation from us directly to provide a confidential reference or any kind of information that would help you secure an offer at HKU. Students are also encouraged to always just go back to the application form throughout the application cycle to update the information from time to time, so that we will have a copy of your latest results and achievement. Professor Yim, I know many of our applicants are well-rounded and they have a wide range of extracurriculars that they can show. So what are some of the ways that they can include that piece of information? Tell us about their achievement.
Sure, I think you're right. When I go through some of the application, I can see like many of our students this day having a lot of experience, like not only academically, but also like non-academically. And we really highly value like what each student can bring to HKU. And certainly students can present their achievement, all kinds of achievement that they have on the application form. Particularly, you can look under the section called extracurricular achievement. You can put down any of the achievement that you want to tell us, or you can also put it in your personal statement. Oftentimes, I find the personal statement also is a wonderful place for our kind of colleagues to actually review what you have achieved. And certainly, like Ying just mentioned earlier, students can also this day probably prepare a CV or resume, and you can upload your resume or CV onto the system, either when you apply for the program or after you have submitted your application.
Thank you very much again, Professor Yim. That's it for the presentation. And now we would like to collect some questions from the audience. I know some of you probably have been sending us questions, so we will take next perhaps 10 minutes or so to address any questions that you may have regarding the admissions or regarding any of the information that we've just presented. So now let's go straight into the questions. Okay.
I'm seeing the first question already.
Yes, there are quite a lot of questions.
Yes, there are quite a lot of questions.
Yeah, Professor Yim, actually a student asked about the Chinese requirements. So they saw the second language requirements and they want to know if they actually need to speak Chinese. And if we don't, which as many of you probably know that we don't, would that be a disadvantage for them in the application process or when they kind of fit into the campus?
No, absolutely not. Like I can assure you, English is the medium of instruction like at HKU. In fact, like unless you are coming in to study in a very specific program, for example, if you are joining a Chinese like program, or you are learning a particular language or that particular program focused on a specific language, all other classes at HKU are conducted in English. So you don't have to worry about like, whether you know Chinese or not. In fact, like as I mentioned earlier, we are being ranked as the most international university in the world, and more than 2/3 of our professors actually are from overseas. So if they can integrate into the community, I don't think any of our students will have any problem, even if you don't know Chinese. Even for those of you who may say like, well, what about if I want to learn some Chinese? Yes, we do have courses for first year, even first year student. We call survival Cantonese, so that you can kind of pick up some language about Cantonese language, so that you can maybe like when you ask the bus to stop, when you need something like from someone. But most of the people actually in Hong Kong also speak English as well. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. There's another question I believe is coming from a parent. So his son is interested in coming to Hong Kong, but they want to know if Hong Kong is a good place for overseas education or international education.
Okay, the answer is definitely. Well, let me give you a few reasons. Number one, as a parent myself, some earlier year when I think about like where to send my girls to study for university, the first thing we want to ensure, of course, they're going to a good university. And as I mentioned earlier, Hong Kong U's have very high ranking in the world. We are not talking about just local ranking. We are talking about international ranking. So we rank 21st in the world. So that we are in the top 20, 25th, like 25 like category. Second, I think as a parents, other than sending your kids to a top university, is safety. I can assure you, like Hong Kong is one of the safest cities in the world, right? Of course, you can send your kids to like remote places where there's nothing there. Of course, they will be safe, but I'm sure your kids won't agree. So most of the students will probably want to go to a city, either for career prospect, for employment, or maybe even just to have a kind of better lifestyle and living. So Hong Kong can actually offer that. And earlier, you also can see like Hong Kong U is continuously engaging in upgrading our curriculum. We are matching up our all our curriculum with the latest development in the market. So we can assure you, your children actually coming to Hong Kong, you will find they're actually getting excellent like teaching and other kind of opportunity as well.
Okay. There's a question about the deadline. We sort of already mentioned earlier about the deadline for application. There's only one single evaluation deadline, which would be our first round evaluation deadline on November 16, 2022, if you're thinking about the 2023 intake. That said, we will still be accepting application for rolling admissions. So that means your application will be considered on a rolling basis, subject to availability. If you are keen on HKU, you should definitely consider submitting an application before or on or before November 16, 2022. Okay. Now let's perhaps we'll take the next we'll take the next question about the for Professor Yim. Someone like to know if they can actually study marketing and Japanese at the same time. Is that possible, or?
Definitely. I think like I briefly mentioned earlier, our student, I think Hong Kong U actually is one of the very unique like university, in Hong Kong, that actually allow our students to choose up to 2 major and 1 minor. And also our students don't have to choose their major and minor within the specific faculty or specific school. They can actually like either choose it within the school or actually choose it across into other faculties. So if a student interested in marketing, the major will be like in the business school. And the student interested in like a language course, of course, like that will be in the Faculty of Arts. And the student, if really want to do something else, then they can take the language and the marketing as 2 major, and then even add another minor.
Okay, there's a question about the program choices that they have, because we did mention earlier that there will be 3 program choices available for students to choose from to indicate on the application form, and students asking about how they could possibly write the personal statement, or do they have to submit 3 personal statements? So the answer is you will only be allowed to submit 1 personal statement outlining your interest in the program. So that said, if you are applying through for a very competitive program, perhaps you're putting it as your first choice, you definitely want to consider focusing on your academic interests, focus a little bit more on why you want to study what you study, your passion, your goal, and any kind of extracurricular or supercurricular activities that you have done towards that particular major program that you're applying to. So the answer is you cannot apply, you cannot write 3 personal statements, but make one that counts and that works for you.
Yeah, I also see a very interesting questions asking about like if the student actually interested to become a veterinary, whether that's such a degree at HKU. So those of you who are interested in being like vet, I think we don't have a particular program on that, but if you can actually select our biomedical science curriculum, because we have agreement with other university by spending the first 2 years at HKU studying biomedical science. And if you're really interested in kind of like veterinary, then you can actually like then spend your 3rd year going to our partner school at Edinburgh. You can then do a 3rd year there, and afterwards you come back to Hong Kong, you do a 4th year, and then you can then, if you're really interested in continuing in the subject area, you can then spend 2 more years and you actually get another degree from Edinburgh as well. So there are actually a very good option for those of you who even you're interested in a subject matter that Hong Kong U does not offer. We will allow you to articulate into other program as well.
Yeah, that's a good point. HKU does have quite a number of articulation agreement with our partner universities. So if you do a little bit more research, I'm sure you will be able to find out more than just the program with Edinburgh. Let's talk about let's maybe perhaps given the time, we will have a few more questions before we close. There is a question about the exchange. actually. Professor Ying, you did mention about exchange, and you did mention about HKU, the exchange partners that HKU has, and the type of exchange agreement that we also have with other universities. Can students go for exchange for more than once, or is it just only one time? How does it work at the university?
I think, I don't know whether we have kind of exact limitations, and in fact some students I know that if they're really interested in going, they probably go for more than one exchange. But let me kind of remind you, because to graduate with Hong Kong U degree, you have to spend at least 2 years of your study at HKU. And so if you can then actually time your exchange activity. I know some students could spend up to a full year in an exchange, and some of them also take advantage of the summertime to actually do exchange.
And I think that's also a follow-up question about the fees that the students would be expected to pay if they go on exchange. For a lot of our semester exchange programs, students would not be paying anything extra. So they would just be paying the HKU tuition fee. And many times students would be going to, say, for example, North America to the UK, where tuition fee obviously would be more expensive, and it will be a saving for those students as well. So there's a question, actually a really good question about assessment. So I guess the question is about what kind of qualities or abilities are HKU actually looking for in the interviews that we arrange for students?
Well, I would say number one is you have to show your passion towards the particular subject matter or the program that you're interested in, because that's the first thing we assess. And we also, of course, look for other characteristics, for example, leadership, communication skill, your personal, person-to-person skill. Can you get along well with others? Are you showing curiosity in terms of trying to learn new things? So all those things are what we look for in our interview session.
Thank you, Professor Yim. Next up, we have a question about the recognition of the HKU degree, actually, about how, for example, if a student want to go into a postgraduate studies, either in Hong Kong or in overseas, or in a top universities overseas, how does the degree in HKU actually help them achieve that?
This is a very good question. In fact, of course, we said many of our students go on working after graduation, but there's also a large number of our graduates. They will actually go on to pursue postgraduate study. And many of them actually are enrolled in program in the top university in the world. So that indicates to you our degree is really well recognized by top university all over the world. So you don't have to worry. Definitely. I've written a lot of reference letters for our students going overseas as well.
Thank you. Given time, perhaps we'll spend the next, we'll spend maybe perhaps 2 or 3 more minutes, and we just wrap it up here. Calvin has a question about students studying A-level, because the results were obviously released quite late. Would that affect the admissions when they're being compared with other applicants who may have their results earlier? So I think the answer is no, not really. If you can apply with your predicted results, that will be primarily what we look at when we are assessing whether you meet the academic standards of a program. And if you do, then you'll receive a conditional offer from HKU. And so all you need to do is when you get results in August, that you meeting that condition will allow you to enroll at the end in September. So that would not put you as a disadvantage. Okay, let me see. Let me go through the question. Okay, there's a question from an attendee. Does HKU prefer AP students or A-level students? That's a really good question. We got asked a lot by schools. And the answer is we do not have a strict preference over what type of qualifications students do, as long as they meet the admission standards for the program. So if you meet the admission standards using your American curriculum or through your British style curriculum, then there will be no difference in terms of our assessment. So we will obviously be looking at your academics. We will also be looking at everything else presented in your application. So it will not be a direct comparison or direct preference in terms of whether we prefer one qualification over another. So in short, no, we don't have a preference over the type of exams that you complete.
Yeah, we actually welcome all kinds of qualification, and we also have quite a lot of experience in assessing the different qualifications as well.
Okay, so basically this is a question because I think we are kind of cognizant of the time that we have. Some students want to know where they can get help if they have more questions after the session. I think that's a great and timely one. You can actually join our virtual consultation happening every Tuesday afternoon, and our colleagues actually will be available to speak to you online. Face-to-face as well. And you can go to our website and just scroll down to the bottom at the Contact Us page, and you will have a place where you can register for different sessions. And thank you very much for being so attentive. Before we wrap up, I just want to say that we are going to, for those who are in Hong Kong, make sure you do register for the HKU Information Day on the 29th. So in 2 days, actually, if you're watching live. And there will be sessions that require a registration, so please make sure you do register on our Info Day website, which is with the link infoday.hku.hk. If you're joining virtually, don't worry. As I said, there will be virtual sessions available following today's session. We will be announcing that information, and please stay tuned. Go to our website, admissions.hku.hk. And we will update you as soon as we have the latest information with any of the programs and also the admissions. So thank you once again, Professor Yim. Thank you, students, parents, and teachers, and whoever who is watching the live stream. We hope you get something out of it, and we hope to see you soon at HKU.
Yeah, this Saturday. Hope some of you can join us as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.